What's up YouTube, Jason here with Byte My Bits, and today's video I'm going to talk about a couple things. One, COVID-19 aka coronavirus, and two, I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour of kind of what's been going on behind the scenes. So if you guys have been following my past videos, I have been doing some studio redesigning. Obviously, the wall is done, painted, sanded, repainted, and all that other stuff. And, you know, I got my, basically life savings right there, right above my head. That spot is actually held in reserve for my 100K plaque, which should be here sometime this summer, possibly, maybe. I have to get 100K first and then figure out how to get one of the plaques, but either way, that's the reserve spot. Right now it's holding toilet paper, which is the second most valuable thing I will own, and then kind of everything else. And you can kind of see the little thingies there? Yeah, I don't know what they're called, but they're just like little plastic things that I put a light underneath. So they kind of glow. Let me guys know what you think. I'm kind of on the fence with it. It adds color and it's a little bit more light, but you know, either way. I'll do a walkthrough here in a second. First, I want to talk about the coronavirus, or actually COVID-19. Coronavirus is just a generic thing, but COVID-19. If you guys have never heard about folding at home, it is basically a service that you can run on your computer to either run all the time or just when it's idle, that basically computes things. They use it to fight diseases like cancer and Alzheimer's and stuff like that, but now folding at home is actually stepping up to fold and do sciencey stuff for the coronavirus. I'm not even going to pretend to know what it does actually, but it folds and mutates and calculates and does things and allows them to work on vaccines or treatments for COVID-19. As far as what it actually does, I mean, no freaking clue. But in a crisis like this, a pandemic, a national, global affected thing going on, all I can do is think to myself, Jason, what can you do besides just, you know, social distancing and abiding by the rules and stuff like that? Like if you want to feel like you can do something, which is where I got all into the whole folding at home on every single thing that I have in my house. And I found out a few things when I was running this and setting everything up on all my computers, including my Unraid server. I found out a few things. One, the Noctua fans that I had, because I replaced all 6 of my high flow 3000 RPM fans that came stock with my new server build Loki. I replaced 6 of those with 6 Noctua fans, and in combination with the CPU and the GPU running full bore, which by the way is an RTX 4000 in that server, the RTX 4000 just got a little too hot. So I ended up swapping out half of those fans back to the original high flow fans, which are definitely a lot louder, but it gave me the air movement I needed for sustained graphics computation without, you know, burning it up or thermal throttling it or anything like that. And while I'm on the topic of overheating things, I also installed this on my main computer, obviously, because it's the most powerful thing I have in my house. It's a 7940X with a 2080 Ti and a 1080 Ti in it. Whenever that 3080 Ti comes out, I'm just gonna knock that 2080 Ti down a slot and then, you know, get rid of the 1080. I mean, it's only logical. But basically, I figured out that I need to actually go through and redo my thermal pasting or something because I have 2 cores that run a little hot. So I configured folding at home to not use all of the cores, actually about half of the cores. That way it doesn't overheat my CPU. But of course it is using the 2080 Ti and the 1080 Ti. And on top of that, I installed it on the Angry Inch build, which is that little macro PC server thing that I built with a P2000 in it. It definitely does not contribute nearly as many points as anything else in my house, but it's better than nothing. And my DVR that is running Windows with a 980 Ti, which is, again, not producing a whole lot of points, but still is able to sustain, you know, everything being just full bore all the time. Which is kind of a big deal because when you're running your CPU and your GPU like just at the max 24 hours a day, I mean, things tend to kind of get stressed and you kind of start finding out the flaws in your PC builds. Like my laptop, for example, I loaded that thing up and it has a 970M GPU in it with a, I want to say 6700 in it, but that thing would go for about an hour and then just shut down. Just could not handle the heat. Obviously I need to, you know, clean it out and probably dust it and clear up some of the fans, but in the end it only did like 40,000 points a day compared to my main computer, which can do technically like 3.4 million points per day. So, you know, it's kind of one of those doesn't really matter type of deals. But either way, I got about 5 GPUs running in my house with 4 CPUs all crunching, folding at home. If you would like to help fight COVID-19, you can do it as well. Just go in the links in the description down below. You can download it, just run it, and it should automatically start working. However, you will want to type in your own username and pick a team that you want to fold for. Now, teams really don't actually have any significance apart from you just supporting who you want to support. I personally do not have a team for the Byte My Bits channel, so I have chosen to support Barnacules Nerdgasm's team. It's 231300 is his team number if you want to support his. Unraid also has a team going, so you can support the Unraid team. Linus Tech Tips has a massive team going, but I like to support underdogs a little bit more than the big players in the game. And Tech Jesus, aka Gamers Nexus, has one as well. These are just some of the people that I follow. So I'm sure there's a ton more out there, but those are just some of the ones that I am familiar with off the top of my head. Either way, I'm Team Barnacules, and so far I've gotten about 34 to 35 million points in about a week. I mean, I think I started March 28th. So it's a decent amount of points. Now, one simple little tip here, if you are using Chrome and you're trying to use the web interface and you're getting this issue where it just constantly loops and doesn't load any information, in order to fix this, you have to hit F12 on your keyboard, right-click on the refresh button and click Clear Cache and Refresh Data. And then simply hit F12 again to get rid of that little pop-up, and it should reload this page and show you, your stats and your points and stuff like that. Also, if you install this, you might run into an issue where you're not getting work units, which is completely understandable because basically the whole folding at home thing went from like 30,000 people using it like daily to over 400 or 500,000 people. So right now they have the computational power of like the top 10 supercomputers in the world combined. And they just have way too much processing power to feed the work units. However, they are teaming up with people like Linus and stuff like that in order to add servers to be able to upload and download these work units for everybody to crunch and hopefully cure COVID and stuff like that. So if it's not working 100% all the time, just know it is a known thing and they are ramping up as fast as they can. So props to the Folding at Home team for probably freaking the heck out when 100, 200,000 people just like came online in one day. So go Team Barnacules 231300 and let's go to the studio tour, which kind of funny. It started with this wall. That was all great. That took a long time, but then I'm sitting there thinking, why stop with the wall? When I started this, I had wires just sprung out everywhere. I mean, it was just a cluster F, and it was terrible. It was disgusting. And I figured to myself, if I'm going to be doing all these changes, I might as well just kind of bring everything up just another level. So I'm going to be showing you the wiring job that I've been spending most of the weekend doing. It's a little embarrassing, but I submit it to the court of judging on the internet for you to tell me how terrible and how appalled you are of my job. But I did add a little 1080p monitor, which is kind of cool. I'll show you that. So this is the new shelf setup. I like this. Look at this. It adds color, right? But it's kind of cheesy. Like, that's just a little light. And then it just runs down to the bottom here and it plugs in behind this. But all those little wires and stuff, you can see it right there. But you can't see it when the camera's on. And you can even see over here, that wire runs up there just to power this. Again, it's kind of like weird looking, but you can't see it when the camera's on. So it works out for me. But I'd still included my normal car, and then my Back to the Future car, my Mario painting, and of course, the first 3D print I've ever done, which was a dick butt. I just had to include that as well. And I got my little pirate ship right there, my most valuable thing in the world, toilet paper. And here is my logo. Look at that. I love the way that looks. That turned out so great. But if you peek behind the curtain just a little bit, look at that. You realize it's a little rough. It's not really the best. I don't know. It's not terrible, but it's definitely not the best. Either way, I like how it turned out. It looks, in my opinion, really great. And believe it or not, that's actually straight, right? But whenever I'm shooting, and I'll show you, a little bit behind the camera here, whenever I'm shooting, it comes out a little bit crooked just because of the bend of the lens, or the curve of the lens. Anyway, here is my studio. As you can see, I kind of pushed it out just a little bit to record this video so it didn't look disgusting. Right now I have a tripod in front of my camera because I'm shooting with a different camera today, but there's a little monitor that I got in for review that I'm using now to monitor the camera stream. Before it had that little bitty LCD screen up there. Now this gives me a much bigger view and makes sure the colors look right and focus and stuff like that. So I'm really like kind of excited for that. That's kind of the biggest upgrade. But other upgrades includes this, which is a little key light. Look at this. Yeah, I know, you can laugh. I stapled it to the ceiling, but it's okay. It's a little key light to add a little bit of definition to my hair. And then, it just gets worse, believe me. I stapled that to the wall as well. Actually used a screw, but pretty much all those wires run up and then run over the ceiling. And you're gonna laugh at this. Look at this, look at this. Oh, wow. Oh, shit. I know, that's absolutely terrible, but it's functional and it's not falling down and it allows me to have wires dropping down, which means that my floor is not completely cluttered by cables anymore. This is a huge thing. I took one single picture before I started this and I'll show this, but now it looks 100 times better. And I still have some stuff that I have to pick up like that. I got to figure out what I'm gonna do with some of these shelves. One of them's trash, but the other two are still good. So that's just a mess along with all that mess. But running these cables up and over on the ceiling, able to drop down, unplug stuff, and just kind of get those cables and everything off the floor is amazing. And I even ran a power switch over there. That way I only have one power line running across the floor that I can cover with a piece of plastic. And then that allows me to plug in other things. Like if I want to plug in the streaming PC for doing a stream, I have everything down there and I don't have to just clutter everything up. And I used to have these LEDs, these little RGB LED things on just that board right there. They were just screwed into the side of the board and it was just kind of like a lamp that I can move around. But instead I positioned them on the wall. Look at that. They just go around like that. And I have this very, very fancy wiring setup that you guys will just probably cringe hard on. But yeah, it works. That's all I can say. And then behind the cameras, I added another set of shelves with some flat tops on it that I can just put all the stuff that I need charged. And then I ran some power and splitters and just got everything kind of organized and just, you know, just general organization stuff. Obviously, I still need to clean, but yeah, having all my chargers, splitters, and adapters and power stuff all in one thing, that's just kind of awesome. And then the crowning achievement of everything is going to be this. I know, seems weird, but I had this on the ground and it wasn't even this clean at all. This allows me to basically come over here and turn off the entire studio with one click of a button. Look at that, even got a little night light. Turns off the whole studio and it's just one button. That usually works first try, but for some reason it didn't now. This is actually a smart plug that I can also tell Siri to turn off my studio. That's why I wanted it there. That way I can hit the switch manually or I can tell Siri to do it for me and it will turn off everything. And that's where all this wiring came into. Like getting everything wired together in order to turn everything on and off with just one little switch. That was like the complex one, and that was why it was kind of a big cluster F down here because I just had just so much stuff. But now it's way more organized. Also, I RGB'd my bathroom, just for the lols. Because what else do you do with an extra strip of RGB than install it in your bathroom? Okay, this is obviously a joke, but still funny. So that is it. I know it looks a little rough, but it is worlds better than what it used to be before, and it's completely functional. So hope you guys enjoyed, you know, a little bit of an update, kind of the finalization of the whole process. I'm happy to say that aside from maybe 20 minutes tops of just picking and like throwing stuff away and kind of just cleaning stuff up, it's pretty much done. So it took a long time to do it, but I am super happy it's finally done. If you have the spare computational power to spare, I implore you, download Folding at Home. Again, links in the description. It does not matter what team you pick, but if we all work together, hopefully the scientists can be doing the scientific stuff in the background and doing the protein molecule flux capaciting stuff that they do and allow this whole thing to come to an end. I know here in the Midwest, the whole like feeling of, you know, the coronavirus thing is kind of mixed. Like there are just a ton of people here. That's just like, oh, it's no worse than the flu kills more, you know, you could more chance of dying on your way to work in your car than you do of the coronavirus. Like, so many mixed. Like, some people are completely freaked out about it and some people are just don't care. But my argument is that if the government is taking this seriously, the NBA, you know, has shut down, like casinos shut down. Like, I feel like there's enough reason here to consider this a serious threat. I mean, I'm personally not in a hot spot, so I don't know. I'm not seeing this firsthand. But from the news that I've been watching and the amount of deaths and everything that's going on in New York and Italy and stuff like that, like, to me, it seems like a serious thing. So if you guys are out there, just do your social distancing, make sure to keep yourself safe, hand sanitize, wash your hands, that sort of thing, and stop buying all the toilet paper. Like, I know I have toilet paper up there, but I had that before this whole thing hit. I just had toilet paper. Don't stockpile 600 rolls of toilet paper because you think the world is ending and all you can think about is wiping your butt. That's ridiculous. Just remember that even if you are not high risk for having serious complications from COVID-19, that it doesn't mean that the people that you might spread it to don't have a serious risk either. So think of others, practice social distancing, let's cure COVID-19. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and have yourself a fantastic evening.